Minecraft is a very popular game, but many parents, teachers, and librarians don't really know fully what it's about or how to play. The Champaign-Urbana Community Fab Lab actually runs a number of workshops with building with Minecraft that can be a very positive activity with kids. This is a very basic video that goes over some of the basics of Minecraft and how you can use it to teach building and learning and collaboration amongst kids. You can purchase Minecraft for about $27 and it requires Java, which is free. There are three basic forms of the game. There's survival mode, where you're stuck trying to find food and avoiding zombies at night, and it's a little bit more violent and dangerous. There's adventure mode, where there are stories and characters participate in levels and adventures that are created by programmers. And then there's creative mode. Creative mode is what we use at the Fab Lab. It's where you just build things. This video shows you how to play creative mode. So you can start by going to single player, and then you can create a new world, and we're going to name our new world. Remember to name it something that you'll recognize, and go ahead and switch it from survival to creative mode by clicking on the button in the middle. Hit create new world, and it will take a second to create the world. Depending on how fast your computer is, this may go faster or slower. Now in creative mode, you can get the standard same world here where it creates lots of blocks, and essentially the basic idea of what Minecraft is that it's a game like Legos. So you have lots of blocks and you can place these blocks and build things out of them. So I'm just showing this very quickly to explain what that looks like. Now in order to control Minecraft, you have to be familiar with what is called WASD, and this refers to the keys on the keyboard. You'll notice that the keys are in sort of a triangle formation, and this combination of keys is used to control many kinds of first and third person games, as well as many kinds of video, 3D rendering interfaces, and other kinds of interfaces on the computer. If you're new to WASD, see if you can find a game or tutorial online. We should have some links where this video is found, where you can learn about more how to control it. If you're familiar with WASD, that's great. You're ready to go and play Minecraft. So Minecraft is basically the same as most games with WASD, but there's one key difference. So you use W and ASD to move around and the mouse to look, but you can also double tap on spacebar, and that will help you begin flying. And the more you hold down spacebar, the higher you will fly. You can begin falling by holding down shift. That lowers you slowly to the ground. Alternatively, you can turn off flying by double tapping spacebar again, and then you will quickly fall. Your double tapping has to be fairly quick. It's a lot like double clicking a mouse. Now there are lots of blocks in Minecraft, and you can go ahead and destroy those blocks by left clicking and place them by right clicking. That's the basic interaction model. Now Minecraft is about more than just moving around and looking around the world. You can actually equip blocks to build things. So if you press the E key, you'll notice a whole giant palette of blocks. And yours will look something like this, where there's many different kinds of colors. And if you want to work with a given type of block, you just click on that block. So I'm going to pick the orange wool here, and I move that down to what we call my inventory, which is this set of slots down at the bottom. And if I put that wool down there, it will start to be recognized as a block I can build with. So I'm going to put some of these blocks down here. And you'll notice I just click and click again, and that's how I transfer from this selection of possible blocks to putting down my inventory. If I want to look for a very specific block, I can go to this compass here and I can type in the name of the block. So let's say if I'm looking for some bricks, there are lots of different kinds of bricks. I could put those in there. There are also more fantastic blocks or unusual blocks. Some of these are also items, and you won't be able to build with some of these necessarily. So for instance, if you equip a shovel here, that's a block, or that's an item that's used to affect the environment in the survival version of the game. It doesn't really do anything special in creative mode. Now I can build by just placing these blocks down. If I want to switch between blocks, I can scroll on my mouse bar, or my scroll button on my mouse, to select different blocks. Alternatively, I can press the numbers on the number pad up here. So if I press 3, it will go to brown because that's the third block in the sequence there. So I can switch between these different blocks. If I want to select a block that I'm looking at, so let's say I like this grass and I want to make more of it, if I literally press down, you physically push the scroll button on the mouse, don't scroll it, push it down, you will select that block. Once again, you're not scrolling like you would in a web page. You actually look at the block and press down physically with the button to select the block that you're looking at. You know that you're looking at a block because it will highlight with these black outside lines. And these are these are what guide you in building. So if I look at the ground here, I can see that black highlighted line there, and if I right click on the ground, it will lay down the block. Likewise, if I look at the side of these blocks, you'll see how the side highlights with the black line. I can right click on it and it will build off the side. Now Minecraft doesn't have physics in the way that the normal world does. If I destroy the blocks underneath this, it will actually stay floating in the air. As you can see, it's just sort of floating there as pink wool. And the most infamous version of this is if you destroy the bottom of a tree, the tree continues floating. In many servers with little kids, you'll see this just left all over the place. There's lots of floating trees because they don't feel the need to cut down the entire tree. Worth looking at right now is the stairs. So if you type stairs, you can pick a set of stairs. And we're going to use these as an example of how when you lay things down at different positions, they'll look different. So if I look at this grass block in front of me and I go to the very top edge of it and I right click to put down my stairs, it will actually invert the stairs. Whereas if I look at the very bottom of the block and right click, it will put the stairs the other way. And then these blocks will start connecting to each other if you have them next to each other. So the behaviors will change depending on what their conditions are. See how those two connect? And if I put it on the edge here, you get this nice clean edge with the blocks. And there are similar objects like fences, where if I lay down one of these fences in the middle of nowhere, it's just a fence post. But if I start putting them next to each other, they start attaching to one another. Now you have a fairly large distance that you can modify things. So if I walk out this far, you can see I can highlight that block from 4 or 5 blocks away, and I can actually destroy it all the way from over here. Likewise, I could place a block from about that far away. So you can modify your buildings and your shapes fairly easily from different distances. There are a few types of blocks that have behaviors that are a little bit more odd than these. And one example is if we go in here and look up water. So if I type in water, I'll get all the different blocks and items that have to do with water. And if I equip this water bucket here, and I'm going to do something to help with this first. So if I equip the water bucket and I pour the water down into one little hole, it will just stay there as water. But if I destroy this pink block there, the water will actually start flowing, and it will try to flow to the lowest point in the ground. And you'll notice it actually flows all the way off into the ocean here. But that water has the source block that I initially laid down. So if I actually overwrite that source block, I get rid of all the source of the water. This is a common way people will add water and other kinds of things into their builds. You can also do things like grow trees. So if I pick one of these saplings, I'll pick an acacia sapling here, and I equip that, and I have to get some bone meal, which is something that you capture from skeletons in the basic game. If I lay that down and I right click on the acacia wood, it actually will build into a tree. Now you notice it took me a few times of feeding it bone meal to actually feed it into this tree. And here's another example of this Minecraft physics. This tree doesn't really connect here. That's just kind of how Minecraft works, is that sometimes they have these things that look like they're not fully connected. So, if you wanted to fix that, you could actually put your own block there and now it looks a little more connected. If you actually destroy the wood in the tree, what will happen is the leaves will start to decay, and then eventually you can see actually a sapling just fell down from the tree there. It will come apart and sort of just dissolve. There are a few ways to do lighting. You can lay down torches. If I put some torches in here, and I'm going to go ahead and set my time to nighttime. There we go. So if it's nighttime and we want to light up an area, we can put down a torch and that will light up the area. Alternatively, there are some other kinds of blocks. There's glowstone. And glowstone, I have a texture pack on, so my glowstone looks like pretty glass, but in the basic Minecraft, it'll look a little bit like the sludge in the bottom of a bathtub drain. So, you can pick these things depending on how you stylize your game, and go ahead and look up texture packs later if you want to learn how to stylize your game differently. And one other kind of block is a redstone lamp. So if I equip a redstone lamp here, I can go ahead and lay that down. In order for that lamp to turn on, I have to feed it some power. And I can do that with a redstone block. Here, if there's a redstone block next to it, it will actually light up that lamp. And if I destroy it, it will stop being lit up. And there are some different ways we can give it power. For instance, if I do a button next to it, and this is something, a larger topic called redstone in general. Let's see here, we're going to put some pink wool down next to it, And I'm going to destroy that red, and so we have just our lamp with some pink wool next to it. But if I put a button on that pink wool, if you right-click on that button, it'll light up the lamp for the time that the button is pressed in. And so there are all kinds of little interactive things that you can add to builds like this in Minecraft. Okay, so that concludes the basic tutorial. Now, obviously, it looks very simple when you're building like this. You know, if I wanted to build a house, it would be, you know, let's do some wood planks. So, you know, I can add some oak here. I'm going to build the world's worst Minecraft house. Here we go. I can sort of attach some at the front here. And we'll do a different kind of, we'll do a red roof. There we go. And that door that I picked out before, I just look at the ground and click on it and it will make a door, and if I right click on that door it will open. Now my house has got some big holes on the side. I could actually add some glass if I wanted to. And this is another example of how blocks interact with one another. If I put glass there, it's initially just the very edges of the glass, but if I put some in between it, the glass actually connects for the whole surface. So there we go, I've actually made my house. Now, it's not a very good house, and you can probably do better than this, and if you want to see some really great examples, you can log on online. I'll just quickly show you what, how some people actually go from those really basic one block by one block kinds of buildings, and they practice and they practice and they practice, and eventually they get to much more impressive kinds of builds. And I'm trying to find a good example of one. Let's see here. We'll try the Dwarven City. So here we go, we have an underground city that was made by people that spend a lot of time in Minecraft. And you can see they've added all this lava and all these different sort of shapes of blocks, and people do really quite impressive design setups. You'll notice how large it is. That's one of the big tips to when you're learning how to do creative mode, is that if you build bigger, it will generally look better. If you do these small little creations that are basically just squares, they won't look very impressive. But if you start using larger scale builds and put a little more depth into your builds, you'll see much cooler effects. And again, there are more videos on this. I would just start out by sort of building basic things. Okay, thanks for watching.